It's over, Jess. Your game's done. Now it's my turn.
3 a.m, and I'm elbow deep in the guts of my ancient Ford pickup when I hear Jessica's car door slam like a firecracker in the dead silence of Millbrook Avenue. The sound echoes off every cookie-cutter house in our sun-bleached Florida suburb, where the paint peels faster than promises, and everyone knows your business before you do. Don't ask me stupid questions. It's none of your business where I was. Jessica's voice cuts through the humid air before she even sees me. I straighten up from under the hood, wiping grease on my jeans, and watch my wife of 14 years stumble up our cracked driveway. Her designer heels catch on the broken concrete, the same concrete I've been promising to fix for 3 years. The irony isn't lost on me. She freezes mid-stride when she spots the woman sitting in my truck's passenger seat, going through legal documents by the dome light. Jessica's perfectly applied makeup, still intact despite whatever she's been up to, can't hide the shock that washes over her face like ice water. "What the heck is this?" Jessica's voice climbs an octave. The woman in my truck is Miss Patel, my lawyer. She's been helping me reorganize my restoration business paperwork, and we'd been working late because, frankly, I had nowhere else I wanted to be, not with Jessica coming home at all hours with increasingly creative excuses. "Business meeting," I say, enjoying the moment more than I should. You know, that thing people do when they work for a living? Jessica's mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air. For once in her life, my wife, the woman who always has a comeback, who can manipulate any conversation to her advantage, is speechless. Miss Patel steps out of the truck, extending her hand to Jessica with professional courtesy. "Mrs. Coleman, I'm Priya Patel, your husband's attorney. We were just finishing up some business and corporation documents." But Jessica doesn't take the offered hand. Instead, she sways on her feet, her face going pale in the yellow glow of our porch light. I watch in fascination as my wife, who never shows weakness, who prides herself on being in control, crumples to the driveway like a discarded newspaper. "Jesus," I mutter, rushing to her side. But I'm thinking, not the lap dance she imagined. As I help Jessica to her feet, I catch a whiff of expensive cologne that definitely isn't mine, mixed with wine that costs more than my monthly truck payment. Her silk blouse, the one I bought her for our anniversary last year, is wrinkled in all the wrong places. "I'm fine," she snaps, jerking away from my touch. Just tired from working late. Working late, right, at 11 p.m. on a Sunday, when her office building is locked tighter than Fort Knox. Miss Patel gathers her papers, clearly uncomfortable with the domestic drama unfolding in front of her. "I'll call you tomorrow about those incorporation details, Mr. Coleman." "Thanks, Priya. Sorry about the circus." After Miss Patel drives away in her sensible Honda, Jessica and I stand in our driveway like two duelists at dawn, waiting for something to break the silence. The Florida heat never really breaks, even at 3 a.m., and sweat beads on my forehead despite the hour. "So," I say, crossing my arms. "How was work?" "Fine." Jessica won't meet my eyes. "How long was she here?" "About 2 hours. We ordered Chinese food, went over quarterly projections, discussed tax implications of expanding the business." I pause, letting that sink in. "You know, the kind of boring stuff married couples usually talk about." The barb hits home. Jessica flinches like I've slapped her. "I'm going to bed," she says, heading for the front door. "Jess." She stops but doesn't turn around. "Your keycard is on the kitchen counter, the one for the Grandview Hotel. You dropped it in your car yesterday when I borrowed it to pick up Sam from soccer practice." I watch her shoulders tense. The Grandview is the fancy place downtown where corporate types go to impress clients, or to screw around on their spouses. "It's for work," she says without turning around. "I'm sure it is, along with that receipt for dinner at Romano's. $250 for the surf and turf special. Must have been some client meeting." Now she turns, and I see something in her eyes I've never seen before. Fear. "You're being paranoid, Nick. Maybe you should talk to someone." And there it is. The gaslighting, the manipulation, the same tactics she uses in her HR job to make problems disappear. Except I'm not some employee she can intimidate into silence. Maybe I should, I agree. Maybe I should talk to a lot of people. Jessica disappears into the house, and I'm left alone with my truck, my thoughts, and the growing certainty that my marriage isn't the only thing that's broken beyond repair. Inside the house, I can hear her moving around upstairs, probably checking to make sure our daughters are still asleep. Ellie, 12 and sharp as a tack, misses nothing. Sam, 8 and still innocent enough to believe in fairy tales, doesn't understand why Mommy and Daddy barely speak anymore. I finish working on the truck as the sun starts to rise, painting our neighborhood in shades of orange and pink that almost make it look beautiful. Almost. By the time I head inside for a shower, Jessica has already left for her early meeting. Her coffee cup sits in the sink, still warm, next to a note that says she'll be working late again tonight. Of course she will. Tuesday morning arrives with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. I'm in my workshop behind the house, restoring a 1967 Mustang for a client in Tampa, when my phone buzzes with a text from my best friend Ricky. Saw Jess at Starbucks on 5th Street. Thought her office was downtown? 5th Street is nowhere near Jessica's corporate headquarters. It's also 3 blocks from Derek Morrison's apartment complex. Derek, the golden boy from Jessica's office who drives a leased BMW and wears cologne that costs more than most people's rent. I've met Derek exactly 3 times, twice at company Christmas parties where he made sure to mention his CrossFit routine and his MBA from some school I'd never heard of. Once at a backyard barbecue where he spent 20 minutes explaining why my beer choice was pedestrian while drinking my beer. Derek is 33, unmarried, and the kind of guy who uses summer as a verb. He's also been working closely with Jessica on some big project for the past 6 months. A project that requires a lot of late nights and weekend meetings. I set down my wrench and pull up the GPS history on Jessica's car. It's a feature she doesn't know I know about, part of the insurance app that gives us a discount for safe driving. The technology is supposed to make us safer. Instead, it's about to make me very, very angry. The data doesn't lie. Over the past 2 months, Jessica's car has spent more time parked at the Grandview Hotel than at her actual office. There are also frequent stops at Derek's apartment complex, a wine bar called Vertigo, and a lingerie shop that definitely doesn't sell the practical cotton underwear she wears at home. I screenshot everything, my hands shaking with something that might be rage or might be relief. At least I'm not going crazy. My phone rings. It's Ellie calling from school. Dad, can you pick me up after practice today? Mom said she has another work thing. Sure, kiddo. Everything okay? There's a pause. Ellie inherited my ability to read between the lines, and she's been watching Jessica's behavior as closely as I have. Some of the other moms were talking at the soccer game Saturday about Mom and some guy from her work. I told them they were being stupid. My heart breaks a little. Ellie shouldn't have to defend her mother against gossip that's probably true. People talk, Elle. Doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. But Dad, I'll see you at practice, okay? We'll grab pizza after... I hang up and stare at the screenshots on my phone. In this town, gossip spreads faster than wildfire in August. If the soccer moms are talking, it means Jessica and Derek haven't been as careful as they think. That afternoon, I park across from the Grandview Hotel and wait. It's the kind of surveillance that would be creepy if I were following a stranger, but perfectly legal when it's your own wife. The hotel sits on the corner of Main and 3rd, all glass and steel trying to look sophisticated in a town that peaked in 1987. At 4:47 p.m., Derek's BMW pulls into the parking garage. At 4:52 p.m., Jessica's Lexus follows. I wait 30 minutes, then walk into the hotel lobby like I belong there. The desk clerk is young, bored, and doesn't look up from her phone when I approach. Excuse me, I'm supposed to meet my wife, Jessica Coleman. She's here with a colleague for a business meeting. Could you ring their room? Sorry, sir, we can't give out guest information. I slide a 20 across the counter. I'm not asking for information. I'm asking you to call my wife and tell her I'm here. Jessica Coleman. Blonde hair, about 5'6", probably with a tall guy in an expensive suit. The clerk palms the 20 and checks her computer. Room 412, but sir, the do not disturb sign is up. Of course it is. I take the elevator to the 4th floor and walk down the hallway until I find room 412. I can hear voices inside. Jessica's laugh, the one she used to save for me, mixed with Derek's deeper chuckle. Instead of knocking, I take out my phone and call Jessica's cell. Nick? What's wrong? I'm in a meeting. I know exactly what kind of meeting you're in, Jess. Room 412 at the Grandview. Hope Derek's company credit card covers the minibar. The line goes dead. I walk back to the elevator, ride down to the lobby, and position myself where I can see both the elevator and the stairs. 20 minutes later, Jessica emerges from the elevator alone, her hair slightly mussed, her blouse buttoned wrong. She sees me immediately and walks over with the kind of confidence that only comes from years of practice lying. This is not what you think, she says. Really? What do I think it is? Derek and I were reviewing the Henderson contract. We needed privacy because there are confidentiality issues. In a hotel room. The office was too noisy. With a do not disturb sign. We didn't want to be interrupted. I have to admire her commitment to the story, even though we both know it's BS. Where is Derek now? He left through the back exit. He didn't want there to be any misunderstandings. Like the misunderstanding where my wife is screwing her coworker in a hotel room? Jessica's mask slips for just a moment, and I see something that might be guilt. Or it might be annoyance at getting caught. I'm not having this conversation here, she says, looking around the lobby. Then where? At home? Where our daughters can hear you lie to my face? At your office, where everyone already knows what's going on? Or maybe at Derek's apartment, since you spend so much time there anyway. She turns and walks toward the exit. I follow, keeping my voice low but letting the anger show. I know about the GPS, Jess. I know about the receipts, the hotel key cards, the new lingerie. I know about the wine bar where you and Derek go to discuss business. I know about the soccer moms talking about my wife's midlife crisis. She stops at her car and turns to face me. For the first time in months, I see the woman I married. Not the polished corporate executive, not the manipulative liar, but the scared person underneath. What do you want me to say, Nick? I want you to tell me the truth. The truth is that you and I haven't been happy for years. The truth is that Derek makes me feel alive again. The truth is that I was going to tell you, but I didn't know how. There it is, finally. How long? 4 months. Are you in love with him? She hesitates. I think so, I nod, feeling strangely calm. Okay, so what happens now? I don't know. I do, I say, pulling out my phone. Now everyone else gets to know the truth too. I snap a photo of her standing next to her car in the hotel parking lot, her clothes disheveled, her face flushed with guilt and fear. Nick, don't... But I'm already walking away, heading to my truck, leaving her standing in the parking lot of her own destruction. The war has begun. Wednesday morning, I wake up to an empty bed and the sound of Jessica's shower running. She's up early, probably trying to avoid another confrontation. Smart woman. Too bad she wasn't smart enough to avoid Derek Morrison. I make coffee and scroll through my phone, looking at the photo I took yesterday. Jessica looks guilty as heck, standing in that parking lot with her hair messed up and her blouse buttoned wrong. It's not exactly a smoking tool, but it's enough to plant seeds of doubt. The question is, what do I do with it? My first instinct is to post it on Facebook with a caption like, "Guess what my wife was doing at the Grandview Hotel yesterday?" But that's the nuclear option, and I'm not ready to irradiate my daughter's lives just yet. Instead, I text the photo to Ricky with a message. Found out why she's been working so many late nights. His response is immediate. Holy crap, man. What are you going to do? Still figuring that out. Jessica comes downstairs dressed for battle. Power suit, perfect makeup, hair styled like she's going to a board meeting instead of facing her husband who caught her cheating. She pours coffee into a travel mug without looking at me. We need to talk, she says. I'm listening. Not here. Not with the girls in the house. Then where? Lunch. Meet me at Cafe Luna at noon. Cafe Luna is neutral territory, a little bistro downtown where we used to go on dates back when we still liked each other. It's also public enough that neither of us can make a scene. Fine, but Jess? She looks at me for the first time since yesterday. If you're thinking about spinning this, about making me the bad guy somehow, don't. I have evidence, I have witnesses, and I have a lawyer who thinks you're an idiot for cheating on a guy who fixes things for a living. Her face goes pale, but she doesn't deny anything. She just nods and heads for the garage. After she leaves, I call in sick to my current restoration project and spend the morning doing research. Derek Morrison, it turns out, is not as golden as he pretends to be. A little digging through public records reveals 2 previous jobs he was asked to leave, a bankruptcy from 5 years ago, and a DUI he managed to keep off his LinkedIn profile. More interesting is his current living situation. Derek's fancy apartment is actually a sublet from his cousin, who's deployed overseas with the army. The lease is in the cousin's name, which means Derek could be evicted at any time if the real tenant decides to come home early. The BMW? Leased through the company Jessica works for, part of a program for senior executives. Except Derek isn't a senior executive. He's a project coordinator who somehow talked his way into a car he can't afford. I print out everything I find and put it in a folder. Knowledge is power, and I'm starting to feel powerful for the first time in months. At noon, I walk into Cafe Luna to find Jessica already seated at a corner table, nervously shredding a napkin. She's ordered a salad she's not eating and a wine she's definitely drinking, even though it's barely past lunchtime. "You look like heck," I say, sitting down across from her. "Thanks. You look like you're enjoying this." "I am, a little bit. Is that wrong?" She sighs and pushes her salad around with her fork. "I deserve that. You deserve a lot more than that, but I'm trying to be civilized for the sake of our daughters." "What do you want, Nick? Money? The house? Full custody?" "I want you to stop lying to me. I want you to stop lying to the girls, and I want you to understand that your actions have consequences." "What kind of consequences?" I pull out my phone and show her the photo again. The kind where everyone in town finds out that Jessica Coleman, the woman who sits on the school board and volunteers at the church bake sale, is screwing around with a guy young enough to be her little brother. Derek is 33. Derek is a loser who drives a car he can't afford to an apartment he doesn't own while sleeping with a married woman who has 2 kids. Jessica flinches like I've hit her. "You don't know him." "I know enough. I know he's been fired from 2 previous jobs. I know he filed for bankruptcy 5 years ago. I know he has a DUI that he's hiding from your company's HR department." Her face goes white. "How do you—" "Public records, Jess. Amazing what you can find when you actually look. You're investigating him?" "I'm protecting myself and our daughters. Because when this blows up, and it will blow up, I want to make sure everyone knows who the real victim is." Jessica drains her wine glass and signals the waitress for another. It's 12:30 on a Wednesday, and my wife is getting drunk at lunch. The woman who used to lecture me about having a beer while watching football is now drowning her guilt in Chardonnay. "What do you want me to do?" she asks. "End it. Today. Tell Derek it's over, and then we'll figure out how to fix our marriage." "And if I don't?" I lean forward, keeping my voice low but making sure she hears every word. "Then I make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you really are. Starting with your boss, who probably doesn't know his project coordinator is banging the HR director in hotel rooms on company time." Jessica's second glass of wine arrives, and she takes a large gulp before responding. "You're threatening me. I'm giving you a choice. Clean up your mess, or I'll clean it up for you." "And you think that will save our marriage?" "Honestly, I don't know if our marriage is worth saving. But our daughters deserve better than having their mother's affair become the talk of the town." We sit in silence for a few minutes, the weight of 14 years of marriage pressing down on us like humidity before a storm. Finally, Jessica speaks. "I'll think about it." "Don't think too long. Derek's cousin gets back from deployment next month. When he finds out some stranger has been living in his apartment and screwing married women, your boyfriend might find himself homeless." Jessica's eyes widen. She didn't know about the cousin. "How did you—" "Never mind. I don't want to know." I stand up and drop a 20 on the table. "For what it's worth, Jess, I really hoped I was wrong about all of this." "So did I," she says quietly. I'm halfway to the door when she calls my name. "Nick?" I turn around. "I'm sorry. I know you are. The question is whether you're sorry enough to stop." I leave her sitting there with her wine and her guilt. And for the first time since this whole mess started, I feel like I might actually win. Thursday evening, I'm at Ricky's gym, working out my frustrations on a heavy bag that's seen better days. The place smells like sweat and determination, 2 things that have been in short supply in my life lately. Ricky's fitness isn't fancy. No chrome machines or juice bar, but it's real, like Ricky himself. "You're hitting that bag like it owes you money," Ricky says, holding the bag steady while I throw combinations. "Maybe it does. Ricky Martinez has been my best friend since high school, back when we both thought we were going to be professional boxers instead of small business owners with bad knees and worse attitudes. He opened this gym 3 years ago after retiring from the police force, and it's become my sanctuary when home feels like a war zone. "So what's the plan?" he asks. "Still working on it? You talked to Jessica yesterday, gave her a chance to end it. And," I throw a particularly vicious right hook, "she's thinking about it." That's not a no. That's not a yes either. Ricky lets go of the bag and grabs 2 bottles of water from the mini fridge behind the counter. The gym is empty except for us. It's dinner time, and most people are home with their families, eating meals together and pretending to be happy. "You know what your problem is?" Ricky says. "I'm sure you're going to tell me. You're playing defense. She cheats, you react. She lies, you investigate. She makes excuses, you give ultimatums. You're letting her control the game. What would you do? I'd go on offense, make her react to you for a change. Before I can ask what that means, the gym door opens and 3 guys walk in. I recognize them immediately. Tom Bradley, Mike Stevens, and Jeff Chen. They used to be friends of mine, back when Jessica and I were still pretending to be happy. Back when we'd have barbecues and game nights and all the other suburban rituals that make you feel like you're living a real life instead of just going through the motions. Well, Tom says, looking around the gym like he's inspecting a crime scene. Heard you might be here. Tom Bradley is a real estate agent who sells overpriced houses to people who can't afford them. He's married to Sarah, Jessica's best friend from college, which automatically makes him Switzerland in any marital dispute. Except Switzerland doesn't usually show up at your gym with backup. Tom, Mike, Jeff. I nod at each of them. You guys here to work out or just slumming? Mike Stevens laughs, but there's no humor in it. Mike owns a successful accounting firm and drives a Tesla that he mentions in every conversation. His wife Linda runs the PTA with Jessica, and they probably share more gossip than state secrets. Actually, we're here to talk to you, Mike says. Jeff Chen doesn't say anything. Jeff's a lawyer, not my lawyer, but a lawyer nonetheless. And he's smart enough to know that whatever's about to happen, he doesn't want to be in the middle of it. Talk away, I say, unwrapping my hands. About Jessica, Tom says. What about her? About the rumors that are going around town? I look at Ricky, who's moved closer to the counter where he keeps a baseball bat for situations exactly like this one. What rumors would those be? Come on, Nick, Mike says. You know what we're talking about. People are saying things about Jessica and some guy from her work. It's getting ugly. And you think that's my fault? We think you need to shut it down, Tom says, before it gets worse. I finish unwrapping my hands and toss the tape in a trash can. Let me get this straight. My wife is screwing around on me, but I'm supposed to shut down the rumors about it. We don't know that she's... Jeff starts, then stops when Tom gives him a look. You don't know what, Jeff? You don't know that she's been spending her afternoons in hotel rooms with Derek Morrison? You don't know that she's been lying to me and our daughters for months? You don't know that half the town has seen them together? Even if that's true, Tom says, airing your dirty laundry in public isn't going to help anyone. Whose dirty laundry is it, Tom? Mine or Jessica's? Look, we get it, Mike says. You're pissed. You have every right to be. But think about Ellie and Sam. Think about what this is doing to them. And there it is. The manipulation, the guilt trip, the suggestion that I'm somehow responsible for protecting my daughters from their mother's choices. You want to know what's hurting my daughters? I say, my voice rising. It's not the rumors. It's the fact that their mother is too selfish to put them first. It's the fact that she's been lying to them for months. It's the fact that she's destroying our family for some loser who drives a leased car and lives in his cousin's apartment. Jesus, Nick, Tom says. Listen to yourself. No, you listen to me, all of you. I step closer and I can see them tense up. Jessica made her choice. She chose Derek Morrison over her family. She chose hotel rooms over her daughter's stability. She chose to lie instead of being honest. Those were her choices, not mine. But you don't have to make it worse, Mike says. Worse for who? For Jessica? For Derek? Or for you guys who are embarrassed that your friend married a cheater? That's enough, Tom says, his face flushing red. Is it? Because I'm just getting started. Ricky steps forward. Maybe you guys should leave. We're not done here, Tom says. Yeah, you are, Ricky replies, and there's something in his voice that makes all 3 of them take a step back. Ricky might be retired from the police force, but he still carries himself like a cop. And he's holding that baseball bat. This isn't over, Nick, Tom says as they head for the door. You're right, I call after them. It's not. After they leave, Ricky and I stand in the empty gym, listening to the air conditioning hum and the distant sound of traffic on Main Street. Well, Ricky says finally, that was fun? They're scared. Of what? That if Jessica can cheat and get away with it, maybe their wives can too. That if I don't just shut up and take it, maybe other husbands won't either. You think their wives are cheating? I think their wives are friends with Jessica. I think they've been covering for her, lying for her, helping her sneak around, and now they're worried about what happens when the truth comes out. Ricky nods slowly. So what are you going to do about it? I'm going to take your advice. Which advice was that? I'm going to go on offense. I grab my gym bag and head for the door, my mind already working through the possibilities. Tom, Mike, and Jeff just made a serious mistake. They showed me that Jessica's affair isn't just her problem. It's a conspiracy involving half the couples in our social circle. And conspiracies, by definition, require co-conspirators. Time to find out who else has been lying to me. Friday night, and the Millbrook Community Center is packed for the annual school fundraiser. It's the kind of event where everyone pretends to care about the children while really just showing off their new cars and gossiping about their neighbors. Under normal circumstances, I'd find an excuse to skip it. Tonight, it's exactly where I need to be. Jessica arrived separately, claiming she had to work late again. She's wearing a new dress, black, expensive, the kind that's supposed to make her look sophisticated, but just makes her look guilty. She's been avoiding eye contact with me all week, ever since our lunch at Cafe Luna. Derek Morrison is here too, standing near the silent auction table with a drink in his hand and that smug smile he wears like cologne. He's talking to Sarah Bradley, Tom's wife, and from their body language, it's clear they know each other better than they should. I position myself near the microphone that's set up for the evening's speeches and watch the crowd. It's like a nature documentary. Predators and prey, all dressed up in their suburban camouflage, pretending to be civilized while plotting against each other. Nick! Linda Stevens approaches with the kind of fake enthusiasm that screams guilt. So glad you could make it. Jessica said you might not come. Wouldn't miss it for the world, Linda. How's Mike? Oh, you know Mike. Busy with work, busy with clients. She's nervous, fidgeting with her purse strap. Listen, about the other night at the gym, what about it? The boys were just worried about you. About how you're handling everything. Everything? You know, the stress, the rumors. People talk and let them talk, Linda. Truth has a way of coming out eventually. She forces a smile and excuses herself, probably to report back to the other wives about my mental state. Good. Let them worry. I spot Ellie near the dessert table, talking to her friends and pretending she doesn't notice the adults whispering about her family. She catches my eye and waves, and I wave back, wishing I could protect her from all of this. But some lessons can't be avoided, only survived. The evening drags on with the usual small-town theater. Speeches about the importance of education, raffles for prizes nobody wants, and enough fake laughter to power the entire building. I bide my time watching Jessica and Derek carefully avoid each other while somehow always ending up in the same conversations. Finally, Principal Martinez takes the microphone to introduce the evening's main speaker, some state education official who's here to talk about funding. But before he can begin, I step forward. Excuse me, Principal Martinez, could I say a few words first? The principal looks confused, but hands me the microphone. The room falls quiet, and I can see Jessica's face go pale from across the room. Thank you. For those who don't know me, I'm Nick Coleman. My daughters Ellie and Sam go to school here, and my wife Jessica serves on the school board. Polite applause. Jessica is shaking her head slightly, trying to get my attention, but I'm not looking at her anymore. I wanted to talk tonight about truth, about honesty, about the values we're trying to teach our children. The room is dead silent now. Even the servers have stopped moving. See, I've learned something important recently. I've learned that when adults lie, children suffer. When adults make selfish choices, children pay the price. When adults break their promises, children lose faith in the world. I can see Tom Bradley moving toward me, but Ricky steps into his path. My friend gives Tom a look that stops him cold. Now, I know some of you have been talking about my family, about rumors and gossip and things that are none of your business. And you're right, it's not your business, but it is my business. And it's my daughter's business. And it's the business of anyone who believes that marriage vows actually mean something. Jessica starts moving toward the exit, but Derek, the idiot, actually steps forward like he's going to defend her honor. So let me be clear about something, I continue, my voice carrying to every corner of the room. My wife Jessica has been having an affair with Derek Morrison, her co-worker, for the past 4 months. They've been meeting at the Grandview Hotel, lying to their families and making fools of everyone who trusted them. The room erupts, gasps, whispers, the sound of chairs scraping as people turn to look at Jessica and Derek. Jessica's face is bright red, and she's pushing through the crowd toward the door. Derek, to his credit, Looks like he wants to disappear into the floor. But here's the thing, I say, raising my voice above the noise. I'm not the victim here. My daughters are. Every child in this room who believes their parents love them enough to keep their promises, they're the victims. Every kid who thinks adults can be trusted to do the right thing, they're the ones being hurt. Principal Martinez is trying to get the microphone back, but I'm not done yet. So, the next time you want to gossip about someone's marriage, remember this. The truth always comes out. Always. And when it does, you better make sure you're on the right side of it. I hand the microphone back to the principal and walk out of the community center, leaving behind a room full of shocked faces and whispered conversations that will fuel the town's gossip mill for months. In the parking lot, I find Jessica sitting in her car, crying. Derek is nowhere to be seen. Probably ran for his BMW the moment I started talking. I tap on her window and she rolls it down. Feel better now? She asked through her tears. Actually, yeah, I do. You just destroyed both our reputations. No, Jess. You did that when you started screwing Derek Morrison. I just made sure everyone knew about it. The girls will be fine. They're stronger than you think. Stronger than you, apparently. Jessica wipes her eyes and starts her car. This isn't over, Nick. You're right, it's not. But the part where you get to lie and manipulate and play the victim, that part's over. She drives away, leaving me alone in the parking lot under the fluorescent lights that make everything look harsh and unforgiving. My phone buzzes with texts, some supportive, some critical, all of them proof that my little speech hit its target. I drive home to find Ellie waiting up for me, sitting on the front porch with her arms wrapped around her knees. Dad? Yeah, kiddo. Did you really say all that stuff about Mom? I sit down next to her on the porch steps. Yeah, I did. Is it true? Yeah, it is. She's quiet for a long moment, processing information that no 12-year-old should have to handle. Are you and Mom getting divorced? Probably. Will we have to move? Not if I can help it. Will you still be our dad? Always, Elle. No matter what happens with your mom, I will always be your dad. She leans against me and I put my arm around her and we sit there in the humid Florida night, watching the moths dance around the porch light and pretending that everything isn't falling apart. Dad? Yeah? I'm glad you told the truth. Me too, kiddo. Me too. Saturday morning brings consequences like a hangover, inevitable and unpleasant. My phone has been buzzing since 6 a.m. with calls and texts from people who were at the fundraiser. Some are supportive, others are critical, but all of them want details. Jessica never came home last night. Her car wasn't in the driveway when I went to bed, and it's not there now. I assume she's at Derek's apartment, finally being honest about where she wants to be. The girls are handling it better than I expected. Ellie, with her 12-year-old wisdom, seems almost relieved that the pretending is over. Sam, younger and more resilient, is mainly concerned about whether this means we're still going to Disney World next month. Probably not, sweetheart, I tell her over breakfast. But we'll do something fun, just the three of us. Can we go to the beach? Absolutely. My phone rings. It's Miss Patel, my lawyer. Mr. Coleman, I've been getting some interesting calls this morning. About last night? About Mrs. Coleman. Apparently, she's retained counsel. That was fast. She's also filed for sole custody of your daughters, claiming you're emotionally unstable and potentially dangerous. I set down my coffee cup harder than necessary. Based on what? Based on your public outburst last night and your history of aggressive behavior. What history of aggressive behavior? That's what we need to discuss. Can you come in this afternoon? After I hang up, I call Ricky to ask if he can watch the girls for a few hours. He agrees immediately. Ricky's been more of a brother to me than a friend, and he knows this is war now. You need me to come with you? He asks. No, but thanks, I can handle one lawyer. It's not the lawyer I'm worried about, it's what Jessica might do next. He's right to be worried. Jessica in full corporate mode is formidable, smart, ruthless, and completely willing to destroy anyone who threatens her carefully constructed image. The fact that she's trying to paint me as the unstable one is both predictable and infuriating. At Miss Patel's office, I learned just how deep Jessica's deception goes. She's claiming you threatened her at Cafe Luna, Miss Patel says, reading from a legal document. She says you've been stalking her, harassing her coworkers, and engaging in erratic behavior that makes her fear for her safety and the safety of your children. That's complete BS. I know, but she has witnesses. What witnesses? Her friends, Sarah Bradley, Linda Stevens, Melissa Crawford. They're all willing to testify that you've been acting strangely, making threats, and behaving in a way that suggests you might be dangerous. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. Let me guess. These are the same women who've been covering for her affair. Most likely. But here's the problem. Family court judges tend to err on the side of caution when it comes to children's safety. If Jessica can convince a judge that you're unstable, she could get temporary custody while the divorce proceeds. And then what? Then you get supervised visitation with your own daughters while paying child support to a woman who cheated on you. The unfairness of it hits me like a physical blow. Jessica destroys our marriage, lies to our children, and humiliates our family. But somehow I'm the one who might lose custody because I had the audacity to tell the truth in public. What do? We fight back, but we do it smart, and we do it legally. Miss Patel pulls out a thick folder. I've been doing some research on Mr. Morrison. Find anything interesting? Very interesting. Derek Morrison isn't just a cheater, he's a fraud. Those 2 jobs he was asked to leave, he was actually fired for falsifying expense reports. The bankruptcy, it was caused by a serious gambling problem that he's been hiding from everyone, including your wife. She slides a document across the desk. He also has a restraining order filed against him by an ex-girlfriend in Jacksonville. She claimed he was stalking her, showing up at her workplace, threatening to ruin her career if she didn't take him back. Jessica doesn't know about any of this. I doubt it. Mr. Morrison is very good at presenting a false image. But here's the best part. He's been using company resources to fund his affair with your wife. Hotel rooms charged to his corporate credit card. Expensive dinners claimed as business expenses. Even the gas for trips to meet her. That's fraud. Yes, it is. And when his company finds out about it, he'll be fired and possibly prosecuted. For the first time since this whole mess started, I feel like I might actually win. What about Jessica's witnesses? Leave them to me. Sarah Bradley's husband, Tom, came to see you at the gym with 2 other men, correct? That could be considered intimidation. Linda Stevens' husband, Mike, has his own secrets. I found some very interesting tax irregularities in his business filings. As for Melissa Crawford, she's been having her own affair with her personal trainer for the past year. How did you find all this? Miss Patel smiles. I'm very good at my job, Mr. Coleman, and I don't like bullies. We spend the next hour planning our strategy. It's complex, methodical, and completely legal. Everything Jessica's approach isn't. By the time I leave the office, I have a clear picture of what needs to happen. Jessica wants to play games? Fine. But she's about to learn that I'm much better at this than she thought. That evening, I'm grilling burgers for the girls when Jessica finally comes home. She looks tired, stressed, and slightly desperate. Not the polished corporate executive who left yesterday, but a woman who's starting to realize that actions have consequences. We need to talk, she says. I'm listening. Privately. I look at Ellie and Sam, who are pretending to play in the backyard while obviously trying to eavesdrop. Girls, go inside and wash up for dinner. After they're gone, Jessica and I stand on opposite sides of the patio, the grill smoking between us like a barrier. You can't take my children away from me, she says. I'm not taking them anywhere. You're the one who filed for sole custody. Because you're acting crazy. That stunt last night, that stunt was me telling the truth. It's something you might want to try sometime. I've made mistakes, Nick, I know that. But the girls need their mother. The girls need a mother who puts them first. When's the last time you did that? She doesn't have an answer, because we both know the truth. For months, Jessica has been so focused on her affair that she's barely noticed her own daughters. Missed soccer games, forgotten school events, late dinners because she was too busy screwing Derek Morrison to remember she had a family. I want to work this out, she says finally. No, you don't. You want to control the narrative. You want to make me the bad guy so you can feel better about destroying our family. That's not true, isn't it? Then why are you trying to paint me as dangerous? Why are your friends lying about me? Why are you using our daughters as tools? Jessica's composure finally cracks. Because I'm scared, okay? I'm scared of losing everything. I'm scared of being alone. I'm scared of what people will think of me. You should have thought about that before you started cheating. I know, but it's too late to change that now. You're right, it is too late. I turn off the grill and start cleaning up, effectively ending the conversation. Jessica stands there for a moment, probably hoping I'll say something that gives her hope for reconciliation. But that ship sailed the moment she chose Derek Morrison over our family. Nick? I look at her. I really am sorry. I know you are, Jess. But sorry doesn't fix this. Sorry doesn't give our daughters their family back. Sorry doesn't undo 4 months of lies. She nods and walks back into the house, probably to pack more clothes for her extended stay at Derek's apartment. I finish cleaning the grill and call the girls for dinner, trying to pretend that our family isn't falling apart one conversation at a time. But tomorrow, the real battle begins, and this time, I'm ready. Monday morning, I drop the girls off at school and drive straight to Derek Morrison's office building. It's one of those glass towers that tries to look impressive but just looks expensive, full of people in suits who think they're more important than they actually are. I don't go inside. Instead, I park across the street and wait. At 11:47 a.m., Derek emerges from the building looking like a man who hasn't slept well. His usual confident stride is gone, replaced by the nervous walk of someone who knows he's in trouble but doesn't know how much trouble yet. I follow him to a coffee shop 3 blocks away where he meets with a woman I don't recognize. She's older, well-dressed, and from their body language, she's not happy with him. They argue quietly for 20 minutes before she gets up and leaves, dropping a manila envelope on the table. Derek opens the envelope, reads whatever's inside, and his face goes white. He pulls out his phone and makes a call, probably to Jessica, based on how animated he gets. The conversation doesn't last long, and when it's over, he looks like a man who's just been told his execution date. I drive back to my workshop and wait for the next phase of Miss Patel's plan to unfold. At 2:15 p.m., my phone rings. It's Jessica. "Derek's been fired," she says without preamble. "Sorry to hear that. Don't pretend you don't know what happened." "I have no idea what you're talking about. His company found out about the expense account fraud. Someone sent them documentation of every hotel room, every dinner, every charge he made while he was with me." Sounds like Derek should have been more careful with company money. This was you, wasn't it? "Jess, I fix old cars and restore furniture. I don't have the resources to investigate corporate fraud." "Then who?" She stops, probably realizing that the answer doesn't matter. Derek is finished, and by extension, so is their affair. "What happens now?" she asks. Now Derek finds out what it's like to lose everything because of the choices he made, just like I did. I meant with us. There is no us, Jess. There's you, there's me, and there's 2 daughters who deserve better than parents who can't stand each other. She hangs up without saying goodbye. That evening, I'm helping Sam with her homework when Ellie comes into the kitchen with a serious expression. "Dad, some of the kids at school are saying mean things about Mom." "What kind of things?" "About her and that man from her work." "About what you said at the fundraiser?" I set down Sam's math workbook and give Ellie my full attention. "How does that make you feel?" "Mad, but not at you, at Mom for making it true. The wisdom of children never ceases to amaze me. At 12, Ellie understands something that took me months to figure out, that Jessica is responsible for her own choices and their consequences. People are going to talk, Elle, and some of them are going to say things that hurt. But you know what? The truth is still the truth, whether people like it or not. Will Mom come back home? I don't think so, kiddo. Good, she says, and the finality in her voice breaks my heart a little. Tuesday brings the custody hearing that Jessica demanded. Miss Patel and I arrive at the courthouse early, armed with documentation that will hopefully prove I'm not the dangerous maniac Jessica has painted me to be. Jessica arrives with her lawyer, a sharp-dressed woman who probably charges more per hour than I make in a week. They're followed by Sarah Bradley, Linda Stevens, and Melissa Crawford, Jessica's character witnesses, ready to testify about my alleged instability. What they don't know is that Miss Patel has been busy. Your Honor, Miss Patel begins when it's our turn to present. Mr. Coleman is the victim of a coordinated campaign to destroy his reputation and steal his children. The evidence will show that Mrs. Coleman and her associates have fabricated claims of dangerous behavior in order to distract from Mrs. Coleman's own misconduct. She presents the documentation of Derek's fraud, the evidence of Jessica's affair, and most damaging of all, text messages between Jessica and her friends discussing how to handle the Nick situation. The text messages are devastating. Sarah Bradley suggesting they make him look crazy. Linda Stevens proposing they get him on record making threats. Melissa Crawford offering to find something we can use against him. Jessica's lawyer objects repeatedly, but the evidence is overwhelming. These women didn't just cover for Jessica's affair, they actively conspired to destroy me when I threatened to expose the truth. When it's time for Jessica's witnesses to testify, they're noticeably less confident than they were an hour ago. Sarah Bradley stumbles through her testimony about my aggressive behavior, especially when Miss Patel asks her about the text messages. Linda Stevens claims I threatened Jessica, but can't provide any specifics when pressed. Melissa Crawford's testimony falls apart completely when Miss Patel introduces evidence of her own affair. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s who's probably seen every kind of family drama imaginable, listens to everything with the patience of someone who's heard it all before. "Mrs. Coleman," she says finally, "your petition for sole custody is denied. Joint custody will remain in effect with the children's primary residence determined by their own preferences, given their ages." Jessica's face crumbles. She knows, as I know, that both girls will choose to stay with me. Furthermore, the judge continues, I'm troubled by the evidence of coordination between Mrs. Coleman and her witnesses. This court does not look favorably on attempts to manipulate the system through fabricated testimony. After the hearing, Jessica and I stand on the courthouse steps, officially divorced in all but paperwork. "I hope you're happy," she says. "I'm not happy, Jess. I'm just done. The girls will hate me." "No, they won't. They'll be disappointed in you, and they'll have questions you'll need to answer. But they won't hate you. They're better people than either of us deserves." Jessica gets into her car, not the Lexus, which apparently got repossessed when Derek's financial house of cards collapsed, and drives away. I watch her go, feeling something that might be relief or might just be exhaustion. 6 months later, I'm at another school event, this time Ellie's 8th grade graduation. Jessica is there too, sitting 3 rows behind me with a man I don't recognize. She looks older, more tired, but maybe more honest than she's been in years. Derek Morrison left town 2 months ago, reportedly owing money to several local businesses and facing potential criminal charges for his expense account fraud. Jessica's friends from the custody hearing have mostly avoided me since their testimony backfired so spectacularly. The girls are thriving. Ellie made honor roll and joined the debate team, probably inspired by watching her parents destroy each other with words. Sam is playing soccer and taking piano lessons, filling her time with activities instead of worrying about adult problems. As for me, I'm rebuilding. My restoration business is busier than ever. Apparently, being the guy who publicly called out his cheating wife has made me something of a folk hero among the divorced men of Millbrook. I've started dating someone, a teacher from the next town over who doesn't know or care about my domestic drama. After the graduation ceremony, Jessica approaches me in the parking lot. "They look happy," she says, watching Ellie and Sam pose for pictures with their friends. "They are happy. I miss them. You see them every other weekend. It's not the same. No, it's not. But it's what you chose when you chose Derek." She nods, accepting the truth of it. "For what it's worth, Nick, I really did love you once." "I know you did, Jess. That's what makes this so sad." She walks away, back to her new boyfriend and her new life, leaving me with the girls and the future we're building together. That night, as I'm tucking Sam into bed, she asks me the question I've been dreading. "Dad, do you think Mom will ever come back home?" "No, sweetheart, I don't think she will." "Are you sad about that?" I consider lying, giving her the answer that would make her feel better. Instead, I choose honesty. Sometimes. But mostly I'm grateful that we found out who she really was before it was too late. Too late for what? Too late to save ourselves. Sam thinks about this for a moment, then nods with the acceptance that children somehow manage better than adults. "I love you, Dad." "I love you too, kiddo. More than you'll ever know." I turn off her light and head downstairs where Ellie is doing homework at the kitchen table, the same table where Jessica used to sit and lie to my face about working late. "Dad?" Ellie says without looking up from her textbook. "Yeah? I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For telling the truth, even when it was hard." I ruffle her hair and head to my own room, where I sleep alone in a bed that's finally mine again. Outside, the Florida night is hot and humid, full of the sounds of a town that never really sleeps. Air conditioners humming, teenagers driving too fast, the distant sound of someone's television playing too loud. But inside my house, there's peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing that whatever else happens, I chose truth over comfort, honesty over convenience, and my daughter's respect over my wife's lies. Jessica wanted me to be the villain in her story, the crazy husband who couldn't handle her success and happiness. Instead, I became the hero of my own story, the father who refused to let his children grow up thinking that lies and betrayal were acceptable. Some people might say I went too far, that I should have handled it privately, that I shouldn't have aired our dirty laundry in public. But those people didn't have to look their daughters in the eye and explain why mommy was never home anymore. They didn't have to pretend that everything was fine while their world fell apart. I wore the villain's crown because someone had to. I accepted the role of the bad guy because the alternative was letting Jessica rewrite history, making herself the victim of my inability to understand her needs. But in the end, the truth won. It always does. And as for my ex-wife, she can keep her secrets, her new boyfriend, and her revisionist version of our marriage. I already took everything else.